mystery of 7 killings by Marlon James. Artie Jennings, the opening chapter's narrator, argues that the dead are restless and never stop talking. Jennings was killed after he was thrown off the Sunset Beach Hotel's balcony in Montego Bay, Jamaica. The second episode takes place on December 2, 1976, and is narrated from the perspective of Bam Bam, who is 14 years old. Bam Mother Bams is a prostitute, and the Copenhagen city ghetto in Kingston, where they dwell, is ruled by violence and madness. Bam Bam sees his parents' murders by a man named Funny Boy, and is only saved from death by hiding behind his mother's body. The next chapter is told through the eyes of an American named Barry DeFlorio, who works for the company, the CIA, and is now stationed in Jamaica. DeFlorio discusses an anonymous reggae singer who has gained worldwide fame. Nina Burgess, a light-skinned Jamaican woman whose family house is robbed, narrates the next episode. Nina reflects about her relationship with Danny, a white American. The next chapter switches back to Bampoint Bam's view, who relates that a Syrian man delivers guns to the ghetto and instructs him on how to use them. Bam Bam is friends with Popolo, a gangster don who brutally beats and nearly kills him for robbing a woman at gunpoint. According to Bam Bam, the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, was in power in the 1960s, followed by the People's National Party, PNP, but the JLP now seeks to reclaim power. Bam Bam compares Popolo, who is a thorough planner, to Josey Wales, another top gangster in the same group, who is impulsive and erratic. Josey asks Bam Bam if he's ready to be a man and walks him to a shack where a little boy is bound and gagged. Bam Bam is given a gun by Josey, and he kills the youngster. Josey displays his contempt for Rastafarians in the following chapter. Josey is devoted to Winifred, his girlfriend, because he hasn't met anybody more attractive in 10 years. He meets up with an American embassy official called Louis Johnson, who informs him that the singer has been giving money to Popolo. Josey is aware that the Americans would attempt to assassinate him, and he intends to safeguard himself by taking care of a few people ahead of time. Nina narrates the next chapter, claiming that the singer's song Midnight Ravers was written about her. She travels to the singer's house and informs his security guards that she is pregnant with the singer's kid in the hopes of obtaining funds for an American visa, but she is dismissed. Alex Pierce, a white American journalist for Rolling Stone, tries but fails to spot the singer. Damus, a young man from the jungle, remembers being approached by Josey, who offers him a gun and cocaine in exchange for killing certain people in the next chapter. Demas is delighted to do so until he learns that Josey has ordered him to assassinate the singer. Popolo dispatches his troops to the ghetto to knock on doors and persuade residents to vote for the JLP in the approaching election. Even though people realize it's PNP propaganda, Bam Bam reveals that the entire country is looking forward to the Smile Jamaica concert, where the singer will perform. Nina is pulled over by the cops, who chastise her for being out beyond curfew and order her to get into their car. She is convinced that they are going to rape her and encourages them to hurry up and do it, but the officers are so taken aback that they simply take her home. Meanwhile, Josey meets Dr. Love, a Cuban who blows up 2 cars in front of him. Dr. Love received explosives training from the CIA and attempted 4 times to assassinate Che Guevara. Meanwhile, on suspicion of narcotics trafficking, Barry DeFlorio is planning to publicly cancel the singer's American visa. Josey is planning something, and Popolo is aware of it. Popolo concedes that he lacks the courage to do, and that Josey is correct. Josey and Dr. Love detonated a bomb in Trench Town not long after. Soldiers storm Copenhagen city, arresting Popolo, Josey, Weeper, another gang member, and others, who are held in custody for 3 days. Dr. Love detonates 2 more explosives in Elysium Gardens while they are imprisoned. After being dismissed by his employer at Rolling Stone, Alex Pierce takes a drink with Mark Lansing, who gives Alex access to the singer in exchange for returning to the US with a bag full of documentary video. Nina's sister Kimmy informs their parents that Nina had sex with the singer, but Nina does not inform them that Kimmy also had sex with the singer. Nina's father tries to beat her with a leather belt, but she takes it and beats him instead. In the ghetto, Barry DeFlorio follows Lewis Johnson, but Johnson forces DeFlorio's automobile to crash. Mark drops Alex off at the singer's house, but when he gets there, Alex gets a horrible sensation and freaks out, noting that the guards who were meant to be outside have vanished. He walks away. Demas, Weeper, Bam Bam, and others in the ghetto get up and immediately start doing cocaine lines, while Josey opens a box of M16 weapons. The men get into 2 white Datsuns, go to the singer's house, and shoot everyone inside on Josey's command. Bam Bam notices Nina peacefully heading into the house as they leave, oblivious to the fact that she is entering into hell. After that, Demas is shot at by Josey, Tony Pavarotti, and 2 other men he doesn't identify in Copenhagen City. Demas manages to flee and learns from the radio that the singer was not killed, but rather treated and released from the hospital. Demas flees until he is surrounded by 8 Rastamen wearing white robes. Josey, Tony, and Weeper kidnap Bam Bam and bury him alive. The story shifts to February 15, 1979, and follows Kim Clark, later revealed to be Nina, a Jamaican lady living in Montego Bay with her white American boyfriend, Chuck. Chuck informs her that the CIA is departing Jamaica after 30 years. Kim believes Chuck will marry her and bring her back to America when he returns. Chuck, on the other hand, declines, claiming that he already has a wife. Furious, Kim locks herself in her room, lights a cigarette on a newspaper, and places it on the bed. Barry DeFlorio is relocating to Argentina with his family. Popolo describes his time in prison, where he was beaten by cops in retaliation for the ghetto violence he committed. He claims that the singer returned after the December 1976 events, although that he now sleeps with one eye open. Popolo kills numerous guys before being apprehended by the cops, who shoot him with his own gun as he drives away. Alex narrates a peace deal signed by Popolo, shot a sheriff, and others while in a drug-fueled haze in a New York City hotel. The truce was short-lived. In the hotel room, there is a mysterious man who, unknowing to Alex, is Tony Pavarotti. They end up wrestling, and Alex stabs Tony with a letter opener and kills him. Josey informs Peter Nasser, a politician and the assassin of Artie Jennings, that a new party, led by the singer, is forming that will destroy the PNP and JLP. Mr. Clark, a new American from the CIA, talks with Josey and informs him that Jamaica is at a crossroads and is on the verge of becoming communist. Josey believes the country is being overrun by peace treaty fever and refuses to participate, claiming that in the ghetto, there is no such thing as peace. Josey tells Weeper over the phone that they are leaving for New York. The singer's foot cancer is described by Artie Jennings. On October 30, 1980, a general election is held in Jamaica, and a new party wins. On May 11, 1981, the singer passes away at a Miami hospital. The story jumps to August 14, 1985, in New York, where a young Jamaican woman called Dorcas Palmer, also known as Nina/Kim, discusses her life there. Weeper describes having sex with a man despite the fear of gay cancer in the next chapter, AIDS. Josey is on his way to Brooklyn to investigate a crack home and report back to the Colombian Medellin gang. The following episode is told by Tristan Phillips, a Jamaican Rasta who is imprisoned on Rikers Island and is being questioned by Alex Pierce. Tristan informs Alex that Popolo was shot and killed by police in Kingston, and Shada Sheriff was shot and killed at a New York nightclub. Josey speaks with Yubi, a highly educated Jamaican who left Columbia Law School years ago to pursue a career in the drug trade. Since 1977, Yubi has had a stronghold on the Bronx and Queens, and he has been enlisting guys from Copenhagen City to work for him. Josey's phone call is ignored while Weeper has sex with a white man. Josey should see that he has things under control in New York and leave him alone. Yubi phones to say he'll get Josey up from the airport and that Josey wants to check out the Bushwick operations. Weeper is to meet them there, he says. Dorcas returns to her Bronx apartment with Mr. Ken, a wealthy white man. Dorcas and Ken drink and dance in her apartment, but Ken finds a book called How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found in Dorcas' bathroom. Tristan informs Alex in Rikers that he believes Josey was behind the police killing of Papa Lowe. He informs Alex that Josey would be arriving in New York on that day, and that he is doing a horrible job of masking his terror at the news. Josey wants to kill Alex, Tristan realizes, because Alex knows Josey shot the singer. Josey is upset by Yubi's cheery, taunting demeanor as he picks her up from the airport. Yubi informs him that Weeper has developed a crack addiction, which he emphasizes is distinct from Weeper's long-standing powder cocaine addiction. Meanwhile, Dorcas is interrogated about the book by Ken, and she discloses that she took the identity of another Jamaican woman named Dorcas Palmer, who died in Queens in 1979. She reveals that the man she's fleeing, Josey, is still in Jamaica and that she isn't concerned that he would track her down. Yubi and Josey finally make it to the crack house. Weeper arrives at the crack home and enters with Josey, who has a gun in each hand. Josey shoots up the house while walking softly, killing a significant number of people, including a pregnant mother. Ken had shut himself in the bathroom for an hour in Dorcas' flat, ostensibly shocked by Dorcas's false identity. Mr. and Mrs. Colhurst, Ken's son and wife, arrive and explain that Ken has memory loss and has no idea where he is. Weeper has been tied up with a gun to his head by a killer named John. Weeper tries to recruit him to storm Posse, stating that he will pay him 3 times as much as his current boss, Griselda Blanco. Weeper, who has been unsuccessful, asks for one final hit of coke before John murders him. Weeper experiences a seizure and dies as a result of John's failure to explain that the coke is clean. The novel's concluding section takes place on March 22, 1991. Because Josey is about to be extradited to the United States, his son, Benji, has taken over as mayor of Copenhagen. Benji, on the other hand, is naive, having grown up in a privileged environment, and one day he goes out alone on a bike and is shot and killed. Following Benji's death, there is chaos and violence. Dr. Love pays Josey a visit in jail and informs him that Yubi has betrayed him. Meanwhile, Yubi and his men have kidnapped Alex and forced him to read aloud the New Yorker article he wrote about them. Yubi informs Alex that he will have to contact the magazine and make the modifications Yubi requests. Dr. Love threatens to kill Josey's sole living child if Josey pulls a blade on him in prison. Josey withdraws, and Dr. Love offers him medications to take, revealing that he would not be able to avoid his fate. He waits until Josey is completely unconscious before opening the cell door. Meanwhile, Alex tells Yubi that Josey is the one who shot the singer. Alex is shot in the foot by Yubi, who tells him not to give him another cause to visit him. Millicent Segree walks into a Jamaican restaurant and reads a newspaper story about Josey being burned to death in his jail. She passes out. She sits in a fog at home before dialing a number, which is answered by Kimmy.
About the author. Marlon James was born in Kingston to an upper-middle-class family. His mother was a detective and a police officer, and his father was a lawyer. He was a toddler at the time of Bob Marley's, the singer, Assassination, and recalls it as one of the few occasions in his life when his parents appeared truly terrified. James earned a BA in 1991 from the University of the West Indies, and an MFA in 2006 from Wilkes University in Pennsylvania. Between these dates, James emigrated to the United States from Jamaica, partly due to the threat of homophobic violence and also because to the restricted professional and economic options in his own country. John Crow's Delight, James' debut novel, was released in 2005. The Book of Night Women, his second, was published in 2009. The Book of Night Women received favorable reviews and several honors, but its success was eclipsed by A Brief History of 7 Killings, which won the 2015 Man Booker Prize, among other accolades, and is due to be adapted for the screen by HBO. James teaches literature and creative writing at Macalester College in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.